So, we've had our hands on Vanguard for roughly a month now, and it's been an interesting experience. Though, when it comes to the zombies mode that we've been given by Treyarch, who once again have been thrown under the bus by Activision, it's essentially received nothing but negative reactions from the zombies community. At least from what I've seen. At least. Well, that, as well as the fact that I've been playing COD since 2010, 2011-ish, like the Black Ops 1 MW3 days. I feel like I have an opportunity here to at least give my thoughts on the mode as a veteran of the franchise, especially in the zombies field. But before I start, I just want to mention two things. The first bit, which will be the shorter bit, and what I just mentioned literally probably 30 seconds ago, is just I just want to apologize for not really being active on this platform. I've honestly been struggling to figure out what to do with this channel, and my mental health has been affecting like my motivation a lot, because my mental health was pretty bad for a while. I'd like to say I've gotten very much better with it right now. Like, I feel great. Well, I've definitely improved from how I was. So I'm sorry that I haven't been able to do much here. Hopefully that will change. I plan to try and get a little bit more active before the end of the year, so hopefully 2022 will be a better start. And also, my job really doesn't help my time management. It makes it really hard to try and do this sort of thing, because it's unpredictable. The second bit, and the more positive bit, I just want to shout out both of the COD teams that flew out to, I think, Chicago to represent ELATION ESPORTS at a Scrim Center LAN event. For those who don't know, ELATION is a team that I've been a part of since roughly September. So, and for those who knew me before that, I was in a team called Brooklyn Inferno, but I ended up leaving them in August. And ELATION's my new home. If you guys want to hear about it, I'll talk about it in a different video. But I just wanted to just quickly get that bit out of the way. So yeah, both teams went to a LAN event in Chicago for Vanguard. So there's ELATION White and ELATION Black. Both teams went out to compete. ELATION White, unfortunately, was dealt an early exit as they finished roughly top 12, while ELATION Black made a deep run into the tournament, finishing with 3rd place. And I want to commend them especially considering that there was an ex-CDL pro at this event, aka Fire, who was on Paris at the start of the Cold War season. I honestly feel like both teams have a lot of potential. I'm not saying that as someone... I'm not saying that with bias. I'm saying that from a spectator's point of view, that I feel like both teams have a lot of potential, and I really can't wait to see how both teams go throughout the season. But on to the main topic of this video, as you can tell by the title and everything. Zombies. Let me just start off by just saying Dorado Fung's a bit of an odd map. You know, most zombies maps that borrow assets from multiplayer and campaign usually are significantly altered to create a unique feel while also being recognizable to like observant eyes, unless it's blatantly obvious. With this one though, like, I understand that Treyarch are mostly using assets that aren't their own, but at the same time, I do wish a little bit more effort was put in. I get that they got thrown into this probably late, just like how they were thrown in last minute for Cold War because of Sledgehammer and Raven disagreeing with one another over the original 2020 COD. But we were just given a big chunk of Red Star with piles of corpses, outside areas at Hotel Royal with, you know, cow corpses and sacrificial rituals, a section from the Operation Tonga campaign mission, and the hut from Shino Numa. The only reason I'm being critical of the map though is what I feel like is a lack of identity. The map has a bland feel, and it doesn't separate itself from its campaign multiplayer counterparts. I imagine this is something that they'll obviously be improving on, since I think they're going to use Season 1 to add more to the map. So this gripe is just something I hope Treyarch will flip the coin on as the Vanguard cycle goes on. And again, I understand that this is likely due to probably a lack of time assorted for Treyarch, since, you know, they're trying to work on the 2022 COD, as well as keeping Cold War up to date, since that's since cross progression, and Vanguard Zombies. So Triarch have a lot on their plate, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Anyway, moving on. And to be honest, this section here, I'm just gonna dub it the survival mechanics. They're actually not that bad. Like, the initial pack punch cost was weird at first, like playing it the first few times. But after pouring a lot more time into the mode, it makes sense why they bumped it up from the traditional 5k to 7500. And the perk system, I like that it pushes players to be more decisive with their decision making, since, you know, depending on what weapons you're using primarily, and I guess depending on the game itself even, it forces you to consider what perks to prioritize progressing with the tiers. For example, if you're trying to use the knife to get it gold, or you just want to mess around with it, your first priorities would be Jug and or Quick Revive, or Quick Heals, whatever you want to call it, for the extra health and the quicker health regen. Especially when the goddamn Demon Childs, the Boom Shriers, when they're running amok. Oh, God. I'm glad that I don't have to worry about them too much with the knife grind. Anyway, before I speak further on those little shits, though, I do want to mention the Altar of Covenants, and it's an interesting inclusion. And the incentive to grab them is if you're aiming to get weapons gold, since there is a camera set that does require you to get kills as a result of an active one. And plus, they're actually just good. Like, if you use the... I can't remember what it's called. But the one with the critical kills where it returns a bullet. If you use that with a shotty, you don't have to reload. Like, as long as you're accurate, if you're just killing zombies, you don't have to worry about reloading at all. Unless you're trying to kill a Stormkrieger, then you'll need to worry about reloading. But just, yeah, the mechanics are good, but I would like to see the perks feel more impactful. I'd like to see them get buffed, since after a while they do actually feel a bit redundant, even at tier 5. Like, the worst example here, like, it's Speed Collar. Speed Collar feels useless in this game. Like, Stamina up, you'll feel the difference. Jug, not as noticeable, but you do notice it. Like, you actually need armor in this game to actually feel like you can tank hits. Especially because of the Stormkriegers. Because if you don't have armor, they just shred through your health with that LMG. Pardon that. Quick Revive, it's kind of noticeable, but at the same time, I haven't really noticed it too much. I guess because I haven't been playing it, like, lengthy runs of Duran Funk for a while. Because I've just been focused on leveling up weapons and that stuff. And the critical damage one, the bootleg dead shot, as I like to call it, that one's okay. It's noticeable, but it's not great. But Speed Collar, why does it exist in this current state? This is the worst Speed Collar's ever been. It feels horrible, man. Like, what gives? I just want to use shotguns and LMGs without dying because I had to reload for like 10 seconds because I have Speed Collar tier 5 and I have to level up this LMG or a shotgun and I don't have attachments that will give it quicker reloads, so I die because Speed Collar tier 5 reduces the reload by maybe 1 second instead of 50% of the reload time. I don't get it! But we're going to backtrack for a second, because I mentioned the Brimshires. So I'm going to talk about them really quick. Now, I know I made it sound like to Zen that I probably hate them, but I mean, I'm not going to lie, I kind of do. But not too much. I just hate them when I'm trying to do the Carnage medals. And the Jackrabbit as well, the Jackrabbit medals as well. They are fucking annoying. Because, especially when you're trying to use something like the knife to get it gold. If you're trying to go for Dark Ether, I know not too many people probably will be, because they're less than impressed, I mean, with the camo. But, for those who are, the Brimshires are the biggest pains in the asses when you're trying to do that set. well, not only the carnage set, but like I said, the jackrabbit set too. Because you can't, it's so hard to kill the brimstries with a knife. Thank God you don't have to do that camera set for the knife, because God, people would be insane from that. And speak of insanity, if I keep talking about these little shits, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to lose it. So I'm going to stop and make it seem like I hate them more than I'm leading on. So I'm just going to get them out of the way. Because, let's talk about the gameplay. Now, again, Treyarch kind of got thrown under the bus. But at the same time, I get that with Vanguard Zombies, they're experimenting. Because literally the Vanguard Zombies experience so far is just a combination of the traditional round-based formula with the Outbreak formula. Now, I personally feel like it could have been executed a lot better than it has been, since the gameplay does honestly feel slow and boring outside of the objectives, kind of like Outbreak. But the difference is between the two is in Outbreak, you could actually explore and mess around in that mode, because you actually have like access to vehicles and little side quests and stuff like that, and just fucking around and having fun. Fang doesn't offer that, because it's trying to be Outbreak, but in a lot more compacted sort of way. All you really do in the early stages is just kill the few zombies that spawn in, do objective, return to main area, rinse and repeat with pack, perks, altar, crafting table all mixed in. As of the time I record this video, there's only the 3 objectives, and 2 of them are just recycled and slightly tweaked from Outbreak. As Blitz is just hold out, and Transmit is just escort, but you walk around with a floating zombie head instead of pushing a cart around like it's Overwatch. And Harvest is the only unique one. But even then, it's only really good for, you know, I'm joking, camos and point farming if you extend the duration by not donating to the Scene Eater. But again, Harvest isn't exactly, it's unique to zombies, but I'm pretty sure it's just Fracture from Black Ops 3. I didn't play Fracture from BO3, but I'm pretty sure that's the one where you get those coins or whatever, those crystals, and you just donate them to this little zone in the map. I'm pretty sure that's what Fracture was. And because of that, because of the lack of uniqueness that I feel like Fang carries, I hope that we'll get more. Obviously, we will be getting more, but I hope we get more unique ones, like ones that aren't recycled. Because if we just get more and more recycled material, even though that's what Zombies is built on, but I'm talking about objective-wise, it's not going to work for zombies. At least Outbreak and made things feel unique with introducing that whole open world idea. Fang isn't exactly offering that. It's not exact. It's not. It's just. It's weird to talk about. And those 3 objectives won't be able to keep people interested in the mode. So I really hope from now on that Treyarch and even Sledgehammer will put in more unique things to keep Fang fresh, to keep it interesting, and to make it fun. Now, very quickly, before I wrap this up into this little messy bundle that this video is, I just want to acknowledge that Treyarch did add some new stuff. They had some new covenants and the Purge objective the day before I recorded all this. But I had written up this script the week before, so that's why, like, what I was saying just then kind of doesn't make sense now that they've added the Purge objective. And I like the Purge objective. I've tried it like once or twice. It's interesting. It's different. And that's what I want from Treyarch. I want them to add more unique shit like that, especially objective-wise. So I'm happy about that, and I just hope Treyarch can do more and more with it. And yeah, that just explains the lack of those additions in this video, like why they're not being mentioned until now. But this video is primarily about the launch iteration of Fang. So I consider Purge and the new Covenants a slight upgrade. So that's why, aside from this little section here, I'm excluding them from the overall topic of this video. And now, just to wrap this all up, overall, I feel like this mode is unpolished. And it's more of a rough and unstable foundation than anything else, in my opinion. Despite this video being more on the negative side of the topic, I do have hopes that Treyarch can salvage this mode and give it the kick of adrenaline that it needs. For what it's worth though, like I've said a few times in the video, I don't put the blame solely on Treyarch for the underwhelming launch. I mainly place it on Activision for how they have continued to throw that studio into unfavorable situations and not giving them as much time as they need to get shit done. Like, Sledgehammer, I'd imagine, also has creative input on this mode, considering that Vanguard is their main title. And for all we know, we could have been playing a more polished Cold War this year if the cycle wasn't broken the year before. And the fact that Treyarch are currently working with assets that are not their own, I imagine that would make this task a lot more difficult. So all I hope for is a Zombies experience that will gradually improve throughout the game cycle. But for the preseason / the launch of this game, Duranfang, it's a very rough beginning to this Dark Ether chapter.